G'day guys, welcome to another layout. Now this one is a double page layout and I'm showing you in this video, I want to show you something because a few people have asked me, actually a lot of people have asked me, you've got all the tools, so that's why you can create layouts, you know, with lots of different bits and pieces. And yeah, that is true. I do have a Cricut, I have an electronic cutting machine, so of course that makes life easier for me. That is something that I chose to invest in. However, you know what? I reckon I can create a pretty good layout without excluding the title, but other than that, pretty much this layout can be done with just things that you would have in your craft room. So I wanted to create the effect of having frames. Now, if you've been here for 5 minutes, you would know that I very, very rarely purchase entire collections or ephemera or any of those sort of bits and pieces. I choose to make my own up. That's the creative part of it that I enjoy doing. I like making those things up as I go. I like using different papers, that sort of thing. So for example, this particular layout is a monochromatic layout. I'm using blue pattern papers. Obviously it's blue with white. And it's a double page layout. So I wanted to try and tie in. I was asked during the week, or end of last week, I think it was, if I use multiple photos on layouts and so forth. Now, to clarify, do I often use 4x6 photos on my layouts? Not so much anymore. I used to do it all the time, and to be honest, I really enjoy the creative process and I like creating art, basically. That's what I like to do. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm literally just gutting papers, and I wanted to show you a way that you can create these looks yourself, even if you don't have frames. You know, like if you don't buy the extra bits and pieces all the time, you can do it too. So this is where my brain's going. You can sort of see where I'm at here. Now, I've just used a piece of packaging that I have my Fisker blades in. I've just used that and I've traced around it. That's given me my rounded corners. I'm literally using my trimmer to start it off, and then I just trim it out with my scissors. Yes, the Tim Holtz mini snips are fantastic for this. I absolutely love the extra control that the scissors themselves give me, that they kind of don't just snip right to the tip straight up. Like there's a little bit of resistance there, and that's what I like. Now, all I'm doing here, you can see them off to the left hand side. I'm literally creating picture frame-esque looking things. Now, I'm actually doing a double page layout. I'm using, I think there's about 12 photos on this layout, I think. Now, back to my 4x6 conversation. I do not normally put lots and lots of photos. My wedding album and probably my first two scrapbook albums, they had a lot of 4x6s in them. But the problem I have with that is it doesn't leave me much room for creativity. And that part is super important to me, because not only am I creating albums that are an awesome keepsake for my children and anyone else that wants to have a look at them, but for me, scrapbooking is more than that. For me, it is my mental health. I use the creativity side of it to just go into my zone, and I'm in there and I'm just creating. I'm just doing something else, doing something different. This is why I don't create the same looking layout day after day. I literally, when I come to my craft room, I sit down and I go, right, what are we doing today? I might have a rough idea in my head. Like I always know that by Wednesday, you know, I've got to have my design team layout ready to go, voiceovered, all that sort of stuff. I've got to have that done by Wednesday. So, you know, like I've got a rough idea in the back of my head where I'm headed. But this particular layout, I was sitting there and you can see there where this is, you can see my brain ticking at this point. I've put these frames. This is how it's going to go. I'm seeing how this is working. I need it to be more blue. So, but I knew I wanted to use mixed media in the background. So here's my double page, and this is where I put down some FINNABAIR Art Basics Clear Gesso. Now I like this one because I don't always put gesso down, okay? Sometimes I'll use like the packaging technique, and the cardstock that I use, it is this particular one. I use two different cardstocks. This one is a heavier weight cardstock. This one is the Poppy Crafts, I think it's 110-pound cardstock, and it holds a lot of weight. Like it really holds its own. So for me to be able to add liquid to it, as long as I'm sparing with it, it's okay. But in this particular case, I knew that I wanted to add a lot of liquid to it. So because I wanted to get these three colors sort of running but not running. Does that make sense? Like I wanted them to join together and give me a sort of three-tone blue effect. So the colors that I actually used on the bottom there is Chipped Sapphire. These are Distress Oxides, by the way. Chipped Sapphire. The middle one is Faded Jeans, and the top one is Stormy Sky. Now, the reason I went with those colors, obviously, I'm going blues. So I wanted the background to have a lot of blue involved. I didn't want this to look too, how would you word this? I didn't want it to look so orchestrated, you know what I mean? I wanted it to have a bit of a whimsy look to it. So that's why, like, because the frames could look very clinical, and that is why I don't use them. I don't buy them a lot, but I do like the look of them in the background when you've got, but I just never buy them. So I had to make them, and that's totally fine. Now this is my darkroom door stencil that I got not long ago. I didn't even write it down. It's my large hexagon stencil, and I love this one. All I'm doing with this is I'm just adding a little bit of Distress Oxide through the stencil just to create a little bit of extra something. Now, as I always say, remember your mixed media is in the background. You are going to cover a fair bit of it up when you put your photos on, you put your ephemera on, you put your, in my case, these picture frames when they go on, and then you add your photos to it. You're going to cover a lot of it up. So don't get hung up on getting each and every section picture perfect, because then you're going to be disappointed when you come back in and you put your ephemera on top. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. I have been go today, and it is insanely hot. So starting to get, I need a coffee or something. The cordial's not working for me anymore. Okay, so this is my title. Now I did cut this out of my Cricut. So fair warning, I did do that. Now I was going to have a shorter title, and I did consider just using some stickers and doing it that way, but because I wanted to get two full layouts done today, and one of those was going to be a double pager, and I wanted to get my voiceovers done, there's just sometimes, this is why I own a Cricut, because it makes my day run a little bit quicker and a little bit smoother. And the other thing is too, this is something I really want to stress to you guys. Every single time I cut a title out, I've never used this font before, ever, right? I pay for the Cricut Design Space. I pay for the, what do you call it? It's the subscription. So I pay for that every month. It's like $5. It's not much at all. And I have access to so many of these. Carmel, if you're watching, I did realize halfway through, I'm like, oh my God, Carmel will be yelling at the screen at this point. On the weekend, she's like, or when I was doing my live, and she's like, why don't you do it like this? Why don't you put the glue down and then put the sticker on it, like put the letters on top? I tell you what, it is so much quicker. I don't even know why I didn't think of that, but it's all right. I did it. So that one was not my idea. That was Carmel's idea. So now I come back. My pages have dried properly. I've done my title. Now I'm going to put my actual frames down. Now, all of these frames I've used, they're all from Vicky Boutin collections. I bought, so there's one from Print Shop, it's called Pattern Play, one from FERNWOOD collection, which is Happy Thoughts, and one from Kaleidoscope collection, Chasing Rainbows. The reason I wanted to do that is because I wanted to explain to you, you know, sometimes I say to you that if you buy, you don't have to buy all of one collection, just buy some of it, because the next time they bring out another collection in like, feels like 5 minutes, but when they bring out another collection, it's very, very likely that it's going to match and you're going to be able to mix and match it. So all these frames, there's 3 different papers that I've used there, but they all match. They're all Vicky Boutin papers, and it's very, very Vicky Boutin-esque feel. But this is what I'm trying to get you guys to do. I'm trying to get you to look at your, some people call it a stash, I call it a collection. Look at your collection a little bit differently. Don't look at, these are my old, this is my new. No. Look at, if you like Vicky Boutin papers, okay, go to town. If that's your jam, if that's what you like, go for it. I have a wide taste. Sometimes I like doing pale florals. Sometimes I like doing bright Vicky Boutin. You know, it just depends on what you want. You don't necessarily have to buy the entire collection. Or something that I do quite often, and I've only really started doing this recently, I will purchase the 12 by 12, the smaller collection. It's like a handful of papers, and it usually comes with a sticker, 12 by 12 sticker sheet. And that gives you, by the time you add some white or some black cardstock on top of that, you got yourself a lot of layouts that you can create with that. The next part is, if you buy some Simple Stories stuff, Simple Stories, they create their packs, their collections. You can cross them over. You can pull little bits from other little bits. Don't think that just because it says it's Vicky Boutin's print shop collection, that's the only ones you can use. No. I want to get you guys thinking about how much you can stretch a supply. Now, this is another way that I do it, and I've shown you this before. This particular sheet was the Chasing Rainbows. Now, I'd already used some of this sheet, and I only had about 2/3 of it. So I figured, you know what? My photos, I felt insert laughing now. Okay. So the funny part here is I actually felt like it wasn't blue enough. Now I'm looking at it. How did I think for a second that my layout was not blue enough? Anyway, so I ended up mounting all my photos. Now these photos are 2.5 by 2.5. That's how big they are, and I managed to fit, I think it was 12 if not 13 photos on here. This is just a layout with Jennifer's birthday cakes. I did another double page layout, I think it was last week or the week before, and that was Angela's birthday cakes. This is something that I wanted to just give you a couple of things that you can have a comparison. So you can go, well, okay, go all that way, or look at this. This is monochromatic. This is all just blues. I am coming back. This is not, trust me, It's still, the video is still working. It's just, I was grabbing something. No, I wasn't. I was texting Cass. That's what I was doing. And so, but I had to be out of shot, obviously, because it's a private conversation. So the other thing I wanted to let you know is when it comes to monochromatic, I was of the opinion that it had to be blue, 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 and blue, if that's the color I've chosen for the week. I believe that black and white are neutrals, and go to town, you can use those. That's not a problem. So I'm very happy about that because it does make it a lot easier. But I thought I would try and still stick pretty much to what I was doing before and pretty much have as much blue as possible. And these photos I felt, now I corner rounded them. That's why they look, the white bit's not on the corners. But I actually quite like that. It sort of looks like an old school sort of photo corner. I have to be honest, I have never ever used photo corners ever in my life. But I was watching, who was it? City Scrapper? I think it was City Scrapper. I was watching the other day and she uses them and I thought, it looks really good. On her layouts, it looks really good and I do like it, but I don't know if I would have as much use for, I don't know if I'd use them as much, but something that I might think about getting down the track is maybe, you know, a punch for the corners. Now, I do have corner rounders and I do have decorative corner rounders. I have all that sort of thing, but I don't use them all the time because, you know, if you use it all the time, then it gets boring. Everyone sees it every 5 seconds. So I will have a list in the description below of everything that I used in this particular layout. See, there's the last bit of this paper. So there's still a little bit left of it. So it goes back in the plastic sleeve with the other VICKY BOUTIN papers, and I will use it on something else. Not a problem. I can stretch it out and get lots of use out of it. Whereas if I just put these straight down and cut around them, I wouldn't get nearly as much out of my 12 by 12 sheet. So I do enjoy this when I do this and I get to stretch my supplies because, as you can imagine, creating 6 layouts a week minimum, and sometimes 1 if not 2 of those are a double page layout, which I know not everyone does double page layouts, but I wanted to give you the opportunity to see how I would do a double page layout. So, you know, this particular one is my monochromatic layout for the week, so it's kind of doing double duty. So it's pretty good. What else can I tell you? I hope everyone enjoyed the acetate alcohol ink layout that I did earlier in the week. I absolutely loved, to say I was blown away how good that turned out. I was pretty happy with it, I gotta say. So that's awesome. Just saying. Now, I will let you in on a little secret. I have ordered from Crazy Craft Obsession, I have ordered some, I think they're 49th and Market film strips, and they're acetate strips. Now they come in a certain color. Now here's where I'm gonna get a little bit tricky. They might come in, I think I ordered I think it was like the sage, maybe sage, maybe the pink color, I'm not sure. But if you've got alcohol ink, you can change the color of them. I'm pretty sure you could. I'm going to give that a crack when they turn up, don't you worry. I'm going to see if I can change the color of them with alcohol ink, because if I can do that with the acetate that I just did this week, why can't I do it with those? You know, obviously not all of them, but yeah. We'll give that a crack, see what happens. So that's some cogs turning in the background. Now, these little diamantes are ones that I picked up from Amazon. They are you can see the little pack off to the side. These ones are blue, obviously, monochromatic. And I'm just adding a bit of bling to the page, purely because I feel like whenever I use the Distress Oxides, I need to add a bit of bling. There's got to be a bit of, I call it reflection. It's not necessarily, it doesn't have to be glitter, but it's got to have something that will catch the light and sort of add a bit of shine or twinkly sparkle or something to the page. And that's what I use these for. Now these, you can see that pack there. It actually came with 6 of those packs and all different colours. One full one in green, blue and red, black, one of clear, and then one of multicolours, and they're different sizes as well. So they're designed for fingernails, but you know what? We use anything and everything, don't we? So they work really good, and they're only like 12 bucks. So that worked. Now I've just run around the edge just with the Chipped Sapphire Distress Oxide just to give it a bit more of a border. And this is my layout, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope I have managed to impart a little bit of an extra something there. This is how simple you can create these frames. I did just glue them straight down. There's no dimension on this page at all. Some of my layouts have dimension in droves. Sometimes you can get away with a layout like this one where you can see the depth because of the stencil and the ink work and the lines on top, but it's all just glued down, straight, flat, no foam anywhere whatsoever. So that is a bonus, and my album spines will appreciate it. So if you haven't already subscribed, if you enjoyed what I've created here, please hit the like button, subscribe, leave me a comment, let me know what you did or didn't like about this, anything that you would like me to try, something, maybe you've bought a product and you don't know how to use it and you want me to give it a try and see what I can come up with. Let me know, leave it in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll chat to you soon. Bye for now.